Roberts & Roberts Brokerage and Libertopia are pleased to present Independence is Only Possible After You Eliminate Your Dependencies by Ernest Hancock, founder of Freedom's Phoenix and co-founder of Freedom Summit.
Ernie has been active in the liberty space for many, many years. Back before most anybody had ever even heard about these ideas, he was all over them. An innovator with the Ron Paul campaign in 2008. He's gone through many iterations over the years and changed his mind on a lot of things. A real creator and a creative voice. I guess our first conversation occurred about 4 years ago, and we had a strange meeting of the minds online on the phone. He is one of the hardest working radio personalities out there, brings a tremendous amount of intelligence, enthusiasm, and activism to the liberty space. And it's our pleasure here at Libertopia to introduce Ernest Hancock with Freedom's Phoenix. Ernie?
I know exactly what you want to know, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, or at least where to go get it, the information. This is what we're going to do. It was March of this year in Austin, Texas, where they had the Austin Bitcoin conference there. And as we're, at the end of it, and there's a concert, and we're headbanging, we're having a good time, Davi Barker from Bitcoin.bombs comes up, and he goes to me and Tim Fry from Roberts & Roberts, we're all good friends, and he goes, "Would you wear this shirt?" And we go, "Yeah, I don't know." Bob Murphy at PorkFest, he goes, "Oh, I see what it is. It's a spelling test for cops." And I thought, I'm going, I wore it leaving the airport. You go in the bath, you come out, and I put it on, people pick you up. Ta-da! Did you wear that on the plane? As far as you know. Yeah, we're progressing. The precedent is what's killing us. We need to kill the previous precedent. I'm going to give you 45 minutes. We'll try and take questions and so on. But I'm going to walk you through my experiences as a young activist. I was a lot of these young guys in the Levolution that you come to know, that you've been inspired by, that you see all this printing and stuff and ideas and ideology and stuff that's coming out, that all of a sudden as libertarians in the late 80s, early 90s, maybe some of you before, I see Butler Schaefer here, back in the day, okay? So I'm going, there has been a common theme that we've been asking, hopefully the right questions, searching for the right things, but we've been in the minority. Well, that's going to change. Just out of necessity, just out of duh. Are we going to be ready? Or are we're going to go to space and take government with us? I want to go to, Widget saw Genie. If you look right above the door going into the spacecraft, these are, we have almost 40 of these banners that represent the cover of our magazine. FreedomsPhoenixEzine.com. These are, Scott Beazer did a bunch. We had a young girl that started when she was 18, homeschooled on a farm in Missouri of anarchist friends that never saw the inside of a school, taught herself to do art. She's done a lot of these. We had, Davi Barker's done a couple. And it was always, there was a theme. And the theme was, as I go, okay, we want to explore a theme. Like some of these might be, beekeeping and gardening and aquaponics, and some might be seasteading. You look at this one over here, my seasteading beats the crap out of your seasteading. It's a big giant metropolis of seasteading. But this concept has been in our heads for a long time. We're going to talk about them a little bit. This one over here, I'm glad they put that one up. That was, what happened at was it Hurricane Sandy? Okay. Here you have what? You have hovercraft that are bringing food. You got flare craft that are bringing ammunition. You got volunteerist bulldozers clearing the beach. You have aircraft, dirigibles that are coming in providing power and medicine, communication drones up. You got, on and on and on. But all of this stuff exists. See, people don't know these craft are they're being done right now. There are airships that can lift 600 tons Now, of course, the military wants to do it, you know. But the point is that what happens when you can, you know, we're talking about where are we going to live, you just take your home with you, and I'm watching the Baja 500 from the air. I'm traveling around the world, and I just land out in the field at Pork Fest, and I just chill, and I go back, and that's my house. Hell, that's where the party is. This is coming. This is not later. This is not later. This is not later. It's now. But what is the real problem? We keep taking the precedent with us. We need to kill the precedent. We keep taking government with us. We keep thinking that we're going, if we put an L after our hippie commune, it's going to be, you know, like libertarian or something. I'm going to give you a walk through my perspective, because I didn't come at it from a lot of people that want to interview. I do a lot of interviews. They want to, you know, how did you become an anarchist? How did you, what was your, you know, which Murray Rothbard essay did you read? People were calling me a Rothbardian before I even knew who Rothbard was. You're just a Rothbardian. And I'm like, is that bad? I don't know, you know. You go read and I go, yeah, hell yeah, what he said. Okay, cool, I can live with that. So imagine this. My wife and I, we're in our early 50s now. I'm 53, and she's like less, okay? We graduated high school. I did in 79. She did in 80. We're right at the peak of the Cold War. Moscow Olympics is being boycotted by the U.S. Remember this? We have all of this, you know, history that we have. You know, we grew up with every newscast around the dinner table on just ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. I mean, you know, that's all it's called television programming for a reason, because we were being programmed. My optimism is that it's taken trillions of dollars and generations to get the people to accept what's going on now. I had, it was yesterday, I had Paul Rosenberg on. Some of you may know who he is. Paul Rosenberg's, I was feeling bad. I've been gone a couple weeks, so we went to a week for some friends. Right when we left, you know, my mother, you know, broke her leg. My father had just died a couple of months ago. She's getting things ready. Well, that just, you know, we got to go to Texas, got to, you know, take care of business and everything. Going through big file cabinets, file cabinet after file cabinet. Over 2/3 of the files that he had was record keeping for taxes. Yay! I don't want my children. We have 2 boys, 2 girls, 25 to 29, and I don't want them going through my tax records. This is Dad's tax records. Trash, 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 trash. Seriously? Is that what we're leaving behind? And as I looked through his paperwork in the late 90s, they're retiring, think, hey man, we're chilling. We got the plan. We got the plan. Moved to Texas, got a few acres, got a nice home, sit here with their cats, chill, and all they want to do is watch Fox News. That was the worst thing they ever did. My father at one time was a deputy sheriff. Then he was a city councilman. And he was an authoritarian. So I knew firsthand the kind of mindset. I didn't want to be stopped by him. I didn't want to be, you know, have him representing me in some, you know, capacity if I got a shiny badge, you know, be it city council or law enforcement or something. You know, so I already kind of had an idea how these people think. The legitimacy, the self-esteem, the self-confidence that they get from a title, a shiny badge. So that's where, you know, shiny badges comes from, because I always say that on my show. Shiny badges, you know what I mean? So they go shinybadges.com. So they come up with, you know, so they had fun with that. In the late 80s, my father manufactured a camping trailer for touring motorcycles. The European government started bringing down their travel restrictions so that you could just go from one country to another without a passport. All of a sudden, his camping trailer was like $3,500 back then. It was Hollywood, man. It opened up, it had a bed, a changing room. It was light, aircraft aluminum, fiberglass, high quality, because he wanted one. Nobody made it. He made it himself. All of a sudden, he gets 10 orders. Boom, he's going to the bank, and they're finding, oh, we're going to save America export. So in the late 80s, what do we hear all the time? We got to export, trade deficit, trade deficit. You know, congressmen are bashing Toyotas on Capitol lawn with sledgehammers. Older guys remember this. They're blaming the Japanese. They're dumping silicon chips on and kind of, Intel can't compete, so we got to have a trade thing or something. I mean, it was just, on and on and on and on and on. And I'm going, there's something, we need to export. Fine, my dad, let's go export. He's got a stack of papers. He'd been all these reviews in magazines and so on. They wanted his dozens of them, so they do tours of Europe behind touring motorcycles in the small streets of, and I got my room with me. How cool is that? Let's do it, Dad. Ship them. You can get 30 of them. It's cheaper to put these in a sea container and send them to Europe than it is for you to send them one at a time that you're doing to Wisconsin. I go, come on, man, America! Woo! I pledge allegiance. MKers, Americans. So I call them Americans, MKers, right? Are you an MKer? Yeah, I'm American. I went through the process. I didn't know any better. Well, there must be a government agency that I should go through. Where do you ship? Do you go to Spain or you go to Portugal? Do you go to Italy or do you go to France? I mean, I don't know. It's like going to Georgia or South Carolina. I mean, what's the, where's the trade, restrictions? Which one has a lower duty? How do we go? You see, I started getting immersed in all this. And then I read the Omnibus Trade Competitiveness Act of '88. And man, it explained it to you, how you mix government and business to the point you can't tell the difference between them. That is the definition of fascism. And they were going to get their cut of any and everything that you produce, and they were just socially and economically manipulating you to think what was important, to do what they wanted you to do so that they could get a bigger cut. And when that wasn't enough fast enough, Gulf War I. War, 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 war. And here we go again. Did you think it was this close, this possible, this big, this soon, after we just get pulled out of Iraq and Afghanistan? And what do we have on the front page of Freedom's Phoenix? They're going to put more troops back into Iraq. I mean, seriously? So what am I looking for? It's 1988 to 90, around in there. It didn't take but a few months for me to figure out it was broke. And I wanted to know, how did they get away with this? I mean, it was obvious behind the scenes what was going on. They were just gleaning everything from us. They didn't want to protect our rights to do trade with each other and, Lord forbid, outside of the country. They didn't want to protect our right to be able to just enter into voluntary contracts with other human beings around the planet. They're better off. Whatever I wanted from them, they wanted less than whatever they wanted from me, in trade and peace. Done. That had nothing to do with it. It was all about control. And I realized that if you aren't in control, then you're out of control. And they can't take you being out of control. I was inspired by the space race. Next month I'll be giving a presentation on that. And I'll tell you what inspired that, how that came about. There's a group that I go to every month, and these are educated, intelligent people. You have like Cato people and the Goldwater Institute. You have lawyers and doctors and an economic discussion group of, we're going to save the planet and right here and vote and then a lot of people don't vote anymore. They're like, maybe not, There was an article on our site, Freedom's Phoenix, that depicted, hey, man, we're there. Space travel, we're there. You know how we know we're there? We should talk about this. All of a sudden, you got the conservatives and neocons. Yeah, we're there now. Because Congress is going to pass a law on who gets to own what asteroid. Planetary Resources, for years, have come to the conclusion. They go out, they scan the asteroid, they go, yeah, this one pings back, 23.7% of palladium. Guess which one I want to go get, okay? So you're starting to see they're all just rock and minerals and metals. You got a whole big giant asteroid belt of, I want that one, all right? So you go, okay, so they're creating, how are you going to capture it, how big are you going to get it, how are you going to thrust it, how are you going to mine it. One of our, we don't have it up, one of our banners, our covers, was a space station orbiting Mars mining an asteroid. And the theme of that month was, should we stay or should we go? And when I say go, I mean go. Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla, Solar City, PayPal, he gets up and he says, I want to die on Mars, preferably not on impact. Going to Mars? Do you guys even know? Did you know that there are private space stations been in orbit since '06? Oh, I'm sorry, 2 of them. Owned by Bigelow Aerospace, the guy that owns budget suites and hotels out of Las Vegas. Bigelow contracted $60, $70 million with a Soviet rocket 10 years ago to put these up as a test. Second one, another bigger test. Third one is going to be a test. Never mind, we're just going to go. We're going to put up, trailer parks in space, man. We're going to have us some fun. Lisa, you want to have a space program, Pakistan? Not a problem, man. Lisa or whatever. So what does NASA do? No. We want you to build a module that kind of, comes up to the space station, hook up here. We'll do that. We'll pay you. We'll be your buddy. Okay, that's money. The competition for the 7-man capsule that'll go and resupply the International Space Station and come back and everything. That's Boeing is one of the lead guys in competition with SpaceX's Dragon. The Dragon is going to come back and like Buck Rogers and land. Did you know that Falcon 9, that they're going up and resupplying now and putting up dozens of satellites? You don't even know that. Little CubeSats, boom, done. Constellation, done. Did you know that they're going to have a spacecraft and 2 missions that they've done recently have had their first stage of 9 rocket engines. The first stage has come back and landed on the ocean, and they just turned it on and let it fall over. Now they're going to land on a barge. Seasteading. I want to be the seasteading landing barge. Okay, it's going to be really noisy every now and then. But I got a platform. Hey, you come platform. You know what? I got a seasteading platform. I'll live underneath, I take how many millions I get for you to have a place to land. Pace. Now, not later. What happens when you have a spacecraft that's able to it's just kerosene and oxygen? Then what? This is happening now, and people aren't preparing for it. It's early 90s. Become friends with a lot of people. We're we're looking for the same things, that libertarian thing. I was, run for office a lot. I don't vote, but I still run. They go, well, you're not a voter. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about it. Didn't you get the memo? Never ask Ernie that. When we had, there was an effort called Oceania. Now, I know some of you know about it. How many of you ever heard of Oceania? Okay, some of the older guys have. And this is, I'll tell you what it means. Oceania was when some of the new money started coming in to the freedom movement. It was software. It was who made the code of the whatever in the floppy if I did the spreadsheet of something, okay? $gazillion. Sound familiar? What do we got now? Bitcoin. We have young minds that are coming out, geniuses. They're they got it going on, and what are they doing? Hey, we're gonna fund some freedom-oriented stuff at 23, 24, 29, and change the world. Because what's always the question, where has anarchy ever worked? I don't know, in my house. I don't know, what else do I need? But the thing is that they go, no, you got to have a system. Why do you have to have a system? I don't want to say, I'm good. Won't you be my neighbor? I'm the Jim Rogers, anarchist. How complicated does this have to be? But they keep doing that. Where's your example? Where's your example? Well, a young man, had some money from tech. I can't remember his name anymore, but the concept was there was I think it was about a 7-story hotel that floated around on the Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia, and you would go there for a vacation. If you're a scuba diver, which I scuba, I think this would be awesome. I go down there and I go into the center. It's not a pool, it's the ocean. I just jump into the ocean. It's floating around your hotels on your back. Hey man, I'm going around and playing with the fishies. Very cool. So what did they do? They said, you know what? If we had a string of these, it was like a football stadium. Imagine a football stadium, and the playing field was the ocean, and you had one opening, and ships would come in, and go out, and you do commerce. You'd have, it'd be nice. Where would you put it? 50 miles off the coast of the Panama Canal in the Gulf of Mexico, east of there, because it's like Deep Space Nine. What do you got? You have a wormhole. You got a bunch of traffic, man. You got people go, ooh, I want to go over there. Where's the brothel? Okay? What do you have brothels? I don't know. You got a law against it? What if I got my, brothel barge? It's just like a mile. I can see it over there. I'll just go over there. It's not even connected. You see my point? All of a sudden, freedom starts opening up all kinds of opportunities. But it makes it scary for some people, too. So they're going, well, you know, if you do that, or you have drugs, or you got this, or you're doing your, you know, nuclear fabricating plant of the whatever, the destroyers might show up. Do we need ion cannons? I mean, you know what? I mean, you start thinking of all these things. Well, sure enough, here come a constitution. It was about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch thick. Then they had their laws, which is like, you know, a third of that. So the interest in this was not the technology. They had already been doing it. We got big ships that are cities of themselves. You know, this is not anything new. What is the holdup? It's the software. It's conflict resolution. You have a murder. Is it the state versus? What state? How do we organize ourselves? What is it? You'll talk to the Seasteading over here. We'll have them on our radio show. I do 3 hours every day. On, you know, Next News Network video, you know, what used to be Daily Pulse, WGR, whatever it is now, you know, we do that. We have LRN, we have a lot of different affiliates. We have the podcast, the iTunes, blah, blah, blah. It gets to a point. Do you know how many people listen to you? I don't know. Don't care. Lot. But it's really an archive. It's for my grandchildren. It's for the future. It's this walk that my wife and I and our friends and so on have gone through looking for the answer to the question. That's the question that's important. What's the question? Where can I go to be left alone? They go, what are you? Some kind of, I'm a leave me alonist. You're an anarchist, volunteer, whatever you. I always say, you know, for years I just go, I'm a leave me alonist. Well, I go, oh, you're not going to leave me alone? You know, are you one of them? Them? Who's them? You know, they? Who's they? I'm on the radio. Who are they, Ernie? I go, there are those that just want to be left alone. There are those that just won't leave them alone. Which one are you? You think it's more complicated than that, and it's not. Declare your independence. It's the name of my show. Declare your independence with Ernest Hancock. Why? The Declaration of Independence didn't say what kind of government we're going to have. It was just how to recognize when it was bad. And you go, okay, you know, governments are instituted among men to protect these individual rights, and when they don't, it's time to alter or abolish. Didn't say nothing about constitutional, democratically elected republic of the kind of we rule you with, you know, pieces of paper or something. It wasn't even talking about that. It's just how to recognize when they're bad. They're bad. Freedom good, government bad. It started off that way in the 90s. I was well known for that saying, freedom good, government bad. I mean, I just start off like that, and then, you know, yeah, but what about, and then we'd challenge whatever. But then it got freedom good, government bad, bad, bad. I got up to about 9 bads at one time, you know. I mean, what would happen? This guy get elected, this war would start. I'm going, oh, we got to add another bad. Freedom good, government bad, 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 bad. 7, I mean, I got to the point you got to start over again. Make it a bigger bad, all capitalized. So it's a concept, it's an idea. So this is what we started doing. I like Arizona. I have 6 grandchildren. We're probably going to be stuck there for a lot of different reasons, but I don't consider that I'm stuck when I got my grandchildren and good, you know, productive, great children that we see on a regular basis. And it used to be kind of a selfish thing. Well, you know, I really get a lot of it, you know, out of it. You know, the kids coming over a lot. Every Monday, you know, we'll have them come over and we have a good time. But then as time starts to get on, we're thinking about moving. We got to go create. I mean, at what time did you leave Nazi Germany? I mean, you know, come on. I mean, it's not whether we're in a fascist state or not, it's like what year, you know? So I'm just going, but there's a whole lot that they get from our perspective, my wife and I. So do I go and create some place as a safe zone for them to be able to go to some other time? You might want to do that. Or do they benefit more by us being there? And hopefully, you know, the battle that's coming, this war of minds that's coming, that they'll be on the upside. And they'll be way ahead of everybody. Are you going to be way ahead? See, I'm not worried about beating them. I don't think I'm going to beat them. I just want to survive them. I just want to keep breathing in and out, not be too hot, not be too cold, not to be too hungry, not be too thirsty. You know, not be, you know, too hated, you know, too anything. I just want to be left alone. Where do you go for that? And if you go from the frying pan into the fire, it doesn't matter where you go. I mean, we got depictions in space. We got depictions of neighbors taking care of each other in disasters. We're out in the ocean. I got cover after cover. We're going to freedom over here. You're just throwing at the Federal Reserve. We're just throwing flowers. I don't want to end the Fed. I just want to make them irrelevant. So I'm like, yeah, everybody turn off your cell phones. God, it's so inconsiderate. Sorry. So my thing is, if I knew how to turn it, Donna, can you take it? Because I know I'll screw it up. Thank you, baby. My wife, Donna, yay. Thank you. Everybody knows she's the real, The dome over here, I give you an idea of why we did this. As a young man, heck, even a kid, I remember the first step on the moon. How big was that? I was 7, 8, around there. I was born in 61. And I remember we were camping, but we had one of these little 6-inch black and white TVs in the camper. And Dad, stay up, stay up. I'm like, oh, okay, And then once they started getting close to the moon, man, the adrenaline kicked in. I was up. Boom, on the moon. You go outside and you look and you go, wow. Man, that was a humanity, mile marking moment. And they promised us a lot of stuff. We had the Jetsons. We had Star Trek had just started playing. Our imagination was a million miles an hour. Everything's possible. Of course you can do it. I saw it on TV. You got, 2001 Space Odyssey. On and on and on and on. Where's my flying car? Government took my flying car, sons of bitches. I'd have it by now. You get the hell out of the way. And I yell about it on the radio all the time, and I get emails all over the world. Well, here's one, and here's one, and there's 3 real good working PAL V. It's a gyrocopter, turns into a car, goes a couple of 100 miles. It's 100 miles an hour in the air, on the ground. You park it and you drive. Go, okay, that's cool. We have, Fuego or something? It's one that, it's kind of goofy looking, and it's not, but they have a new version that's coming out that's going to be very cool. We have, on and on and on and on. Things are happening. These big airships, they're happening right now. This is stuff that's happening. When we depict a lot of the cityscapes and different things this is stuff that's happening. They go, hey, when's that going to go? It's already done. You go into the issue and you go, oh my God, that's already there? Yes. Technology is not the problem. It's our software up here. So when they promised me the space race, and then you get they named it Enterprise, freaking space shuttle, right on. In the 70s, we get a space shuttle. And then in the 80s, they upgraded to the space shuttle. And then in the 90s, we got a brand new space shuttle. And then it was a 2000, and they really made it really cool. Oh, yeah, it's a space shuttle. Then we go to 2010. I'm like, sir, are you kidding me? This is all I get? Where's the advancement? Where's the leap? Where's the propulsion? Where? And you think they got it? Probably. Don't care. Don't even want, don't care. All of a sudden, we hear in 2003, I just started doing radio that Burt Rutan and Paul Allen was going to find $20 million to get a $10 million prize. We're going to go ahead and put a civilian in space without any tax money. Donna and I were in Washington, D.C. with our kids. Her brother was getting married. And went to the Air and Space Museum. And you had a big, giant museum back here, 2 big doors to get out, the big glass wall, and in the middle where nobody goes. Nobody goes between the 2 big doors out here. I was standing there, let the kids, after we kind of did the tour, I go, peace, go enjoy yourself. I'll stand here, make sure nobody gets out without me seeing them, okay? As I'm standing there, it was a monument, a placard about this high, like a podium like this, and it had the Onisari X Prize. The weight of 3 astronauts into space, come back, refuel, keep 90% of the weight of the spacecraft minus the fuel, because they want it to be reusable. Do it within 2 weeks again, $10 million. Cool, that's 97, all right? 2003, all of a sudden I see it, Burt Rutan's involved, and I've been following Burt Rutan forever. A lot of innovations he had in carbon fiber and his advanced designs. And he had done a thing called Pegasus, which was a missile that went on an F-16, dropped, and then shot up into space, and they were putting satellites up. A lot of people don't even know about that. So, I'm keeping track of him. I'm reading magazines, so on. I know what's going on. So when they had him in, I'm going, oh, score. We're going to space. A year later, it's June '04. We go out there, a bunch of listeners and friends from Phoenix, and we are the only ones with signs. We had 6 signs. You can't hear the government scream in space. Government is lost in space. A bunch of them like that. Final Frontier, brought to you by Free Enterprise and Enterprise Font. But the one that Burt Rutan ran over and grabbed from me at the line when they were doing the parade, when they came back and they were successful, he goes, I got to send a message to the media. And he runs off with it, gives it to the astronaut standing on top of the craft holding the sign that said, Spaceship 1, Government 0. Went worldwide. China Daily. We're getting interviewed by, nobody speaks English, okay? Well, but not hardly a word in the United States. Why? Because it was not government approved. And I started to realize, even before then, when I go and speak at schools and everything, I could do this one thing every single time. I go to the elementary schools and we talk about, what's yours, and did you get your own bicycle, and did you ride it, do you have to share it, and who gets, and then high school, what about your car, did you pay for it yourself? Well, you don't use it all the time, can't they borrow it? We'll all vote. You do this kind of stuff. It was junior high, it was 7th and 8th grade. You started going, what do we need? I see the clock, and I get 2 minutes. And it happened one time, and I just, by accident, I was kind of rushing at the end, and I could do it every time, and it went like this. What do we need to get our Jetson car? We need more freedom. What do we need to do this and this cool thing and this cool thing? More freedom, more freedom, freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. And they're marching out singing freedom. And then I realized it was only the junior high kids that you could do that with. It was hormones. It was puberty. It's why they have junior high. It's why they got 7th and 8th grade. It's why they got the middle school years. It's why they go Hitler Youth. It's that age when they're the most impressionable. They go, yeah, question authority, damn Skippy. The man's bad. His name is Dad, and here's a DARE program, go turn him in. You can see the manipulation. I've been paying attention for decades, over 25 years, my wife and I, just wanting to know what's the right question. Where do we have the greatest impact? What are we going to do? How do you inspire? 2006, I had ran for Secretary of State for the second time. 94, I warned about computers and counting. I could see it coming. I argued before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals as my own attorney. I'm not an attorney, but I knew, I'd go, man, I don't care what they say. Well, you'll never get, I don't care. I just want the black robes to say it. Say it! I don't care what you say, just say it. I want it on record, you just say it. You're doing all this stuff because you can eliminate competition and we rule you. I get it, okay? I just want you to say it. Go on record, all right? So we go all the way through that process and so on. Then they do it. 2004, big election fraud stuff comes out. It was like competing election frauds between ours and Demon, blah, blah, blah. Run for Secretary of State in 06 again. The sign was big black sign with, white letters and kind of Gothic font, and it said still voting with a question mark, and the voting was a V for Vendetta. Still voting? But I had some extra room on the bumper sticker thing that I have. It was just a strip of line. I had seen this on the internet before, since the Beatles kind of thing. And I go, oh, I want to do that. The Lovolution logo. How many of you remember the Ron Paul Lovolution logo? Okay, that's where that came from. I created it in the 06 campaign. Ron Paul had spoken at 2 of our summits already before, and then in 09 or 10, again after that first campaign. So we knew Ron. I knew what was going to happen. I knew that there was us. There was an enormous wave of people just looking for the truth. Quit lying to me. Just tell me the truth. I'm looking for just being left alone. That's all I want. There's a philosophy of this. And they thought that they could get this Republican congressman from Texas, 80-something-year-old guy or 70-year-old guy, and they say, we're going to get you up there and we're going to make fun of you. You're really a libertarian. You ran as a libertarian. You're a libertarian. He goes, yeah, and you're really communist. And your point? We marched in, we can march out. in the Fed. You know, do this, do that. And they're going, oh, well, that's just stupid. And our goal with the Levolution was to keep him on that stage. They didn't give a crap about voting. It didn't say vote Ron Paul. I didn't have a year. I didn't give a crap. I didn't want to work with the campaign. We went, activists, libertarian activists around the country that I had known, we sparked that revolution with just a few weeks of making signs and sending them all to our activist friends to make videos to show it. Boom! You got a Levolution of the entire generation next that gets it. What's it? Do you get it? It's one thing. I own myself. That's, in fact, I'm on Air America as a talk show host and a producer for Charles Goyette for years. You know, I'm going, you know, I got the left. It's in an 08 campaign. We're doing the Ron Paul thing, and it's all about Kucinich, Obama, or Hillary. They're coming on, yeah, but don't you? I'm going, man, I just got one question. I put my hand on your shoulder, whose life is this? If it's not yours, it's someone else's. That's it. You say it's mine, welcome to being libertarian. Peace out. Next. They are coming over. It's a tsunami. And it has nothing to do with coercive force of voting. That's just a side effect. You want to vote, you want to go in a small community, you want to have some kind of vote for me, we're going to get and fix an initiative of and kind of whatever pace. I don't care. You know, there's no central plan for freedom. You can go do what you want. But that is a side effect. And to think otherwise means you don't get it. It's a cultural battle. So what I want to do is go ahead and try and, you know, why is this so, the time? Why are we having, because we've had we go to these events, you know, there's thousands of people, you get it, but it's always about people looking for the power. It's always about looking for the answer. So what role can we play? How can we glean some money? How can we, you know, there's always that. And then it starts getting down to where you get to the real minds, the ones that are thinking in the future, the ones that are creating the foundation, the ones that's going to be ready for the next big giant tsunami. Because this group like this is exactly what was the foundation and necessary of people just like Butler Schaefer right there and David Dorn right there doing stuff in the 70s and 80s. And a lot of these people out here, it was that foundation that made the Levolution possible. What is the next one? How deeper is it going to be? Bad guys know that. That's why they're purging the internet and everything. We got Moxie News. You know, this Perspective used to be the C-SPAN junkie guy. He did 60-something thousand videos. Boom, they took them off the internet. Yay. But now we have distributed networks. We have MadeSafe.net coming up. We have Storage.io. We got all of these, you know, voluntarists everywhere that have the right mindset. We're going to do distributed information. To where on Freedom's Phoenix, you upload a video that goes on the unused hard drive space of everybody, and it can never be censored or ever taken down. And accessible to everyone. It's like Napster for everything. We thought that's where it was going to go. When we were young people in the early 90s getting our first email accounts in 93, we're like going, oh, hell yeah, we can communicate instantaneously with people around, and we can see that they're doing the same legislation everywhere around the country. The same anti-rights bill here or there is in some little town in Connecticut and a county in Washington State. Oh my goodness, it's like we're under attack, and we were. We are. But we were able to start to communicate with each other. And this distributed nature of information, and all of a sudden, here we come, and well, they go and consolidate it again. You got to read the article, Julian Assange talking about when Eric Schmidt and Google went to meet him. You know, just do Assange Google, man, it'll blow up all over the place. And it was an article just recently published in Newsweek, you know, whatever. And what happened? What he was talking about is that Google has become the State Department. Because it's all a mind screw. It's all a psyop, the entire world. We had a girl, she's 26 years old from Finland, doing her master's thesis on why America's so obsessed with prepping. She finds her way to us because we're doing the Aqua Dome stuff and everything. She comes spends a few days with us, and she's going, wow, the only thing that I see that was common of everybody in America that was doing anything outside of politics is they are doing this kind of preparing thing because they don't believe they have a voice, they don't have a vote, they don't have a say. And this is the only way that they feel that they have some kind of input into their lives. And I go, yep, that's it. So what we decided to do, and I'll just tell you what the dome is about. And we have 2 of these where the doors go together. We have 2 of them together. It's called the Aqua Dome. We have aquaponics. We have people that, once we started kind of standardizing the size, they have quail that they raise in them. Japanese quail start laying eggs in 6 to 8 weeks. Like, holy crap. Rabbits, hundreds of pounds a month. There's one a libertarian, he makes good money every month just selling rabbits to dog breeders. Now what they do with them, I don't know. But because it produces so much good meat for these dogs. The Oriental community, China, man, they don't have taco stands. They got little quail egg stands. They're big into quail eggs. So one of those domes produces hundreds of pounds of living for a family. You have, we put plants in it and have a fish pond that we do. You go take a look at the pictures. There's DVDs over there so that you can get that. Just go grab one of the DVDs. It shows you where we went online to get the dimensions and how to do it and the calculations to build. And I'm missing a piece I got to go get. I didn't finish it before I have you guys show. I'll show you how strong it is. You just stand in there, hang from it. But the thing is that I wanted to get a standard size so that we could start pimping out, be like an open source project. How much food can you produce? I got little grandchildren. Heck, most kids now, if it doesn't come out of a Mylar bag or a box, it doesn't go in their mouth. I'm going, can we just have a little, some fish? We got chickens, eggs. We got, the vegetables come out of here. I get my favorite kind of pepper I put on my quesadillas. I get to pimp it out. Why? Because I can. And if you want to declare your independence, you cannot do it if you're dependent. And that was the theme that we're looking for. You want to be independent. You want to be able to do all these different opportunities to live a unpressured life, to enjoy the sunsets, to be able to just be around with your friends, to have someone to just go somewhere to go depressurize, somewhere you feel safe, somewhere that you can just go and retire, something you want to. How are you going to be able to do that if you're dependent on an entire system in every way? For your financial transactions, your wealth, where you put your money, how you take your checks, where you get your food, what energy you get, the fuel. But what do we have? Solar is really kicking butt, man, especially in Arizona. You can produce enough energy on your property to provide for yourself. Oh, then more about the battery. Okay, I find out carbon nanotubes come up. You know what I did? I go, well, they used to have nickel iron batteries. That was called Edison batteries. Heck, the cars were almost all electric until Rockefeller said we'd rather do the oil thing. Then you had alcohol distilling. It was ethanol. You just had, moonshiners, revenuers, and everything. That was about energy. So I'm going, man, these guys it's a lie. It's a lie. It's all a lie. So what do? You can do the energy, battery storage. I go, all right. Carbon nanotubes. I'll bet you if you had more surface area, a nickel iron battery using carbon nanotubes that you would plate or something, you get a higher energy density. I looked it up. A friend of mine had just got he went through lead acid 3 times. I'm not doing 12 years and I'm tired. Zombie apocalypse comes. Batteries are done. I'm screwed. I need something that lasts longer. He finds them, nickel iron. They started remanufacturing them in China. Why did they stop in the 70s? Exide Batteries bought up all the manufacturing for nickel iron because they never go bad. You will them to your kids. They're a little bit heavier. They're good for home storage, though. They bought up the company, shut down the manufacturing. You need to buy lead acid because they go bad on a regular basis. Thank you very much for playing. China goes, yeah, we'll do it. So he orders them from China. So I'm going, wow, you can increase the density, I bet you. So I look, boom. 2 days before I looked, Stanford, University, and Rice had done that very thing. Big giant energy, done, I'm in. I go online, I find a tube furnace. All it is just a toaster with a quartz tube that goes in, takes high temperatures. I pump in acetylene gas, which is C2H2. It burns off the hydrogen, creates carbon atoms. I created my own catalyst that I did out of cobalt, nickel, and iron that I put in experiments, and I was able to grow nanotubes. I did anodes and cathodes. I put it in plated with nickel iron and a PVC. When PVC was ABS, I put it in there, boom, created the battery, done! I got my own nickel iron carbon nanotube battery. Now what do? I need a case. This has been going a couple of years. I have a 12-year-old girl, James Babb's daughter, that won the Agora pitch at Pork Fest, won a 3D printer and has the right kind of plastic to do her making the battery casing. Because I just need a battery. Now, the technology is going to go past that. It's going to get better. Somebody's going to do it, but that's not the point. I knew that it's quantum reality. If I take one step towards it, it happens. Got the solar power, got the batteries coming. They're here. I go to Consumer Electronics Show. I just got my press credentials for like the 5th year. I don't go to the big guys. I don't give a crap about them. I go in the basement of the Phoenician with the college students that got a 12 variable flight controller that they're selling for $300 that you go down upstairs, they sell them for $300,000. It's now. It's not later. I look at the social thing. I just interviewed, it was yesterday, this gentleman that came up with Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper is a wallet, Bitcoin, there's another one called Bitcoin Authenticator that's a distributed kind of, because I want the grandma button. I mean, all you hear about Bitcoin, I want to be able to do it and how, and I don't encrypt it in 2-part authentication, secret probationary of the whatever kind of, oh my goodness, I need, how do I don't know. Bitcoin, he goes, that's exactly what you need, a grandma button. Yay. They're doing it. I keep screaming it. Bitcoin.bombs. Drew and Davi. Drew sends them over my way. You need to talk to this guy. We met him in San Francisco. I go, you the man, going to pimp you. Peacekeeper. What happens when you have an emergency? It's 911 and you wait on hold. What happens if you have your neighbors? We had a project with our domes that we put up on our home. We live on like 2 acres, and our neighbors can see it. And they're like, what the hell is that? Okay, fine. So we just did a cover that featured it, explained it. The title was, Won't You Be My Neighbor? And it's like, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. Hopefully you can participate. Peace. They're going, cool. Well, these are the same people that I go with the Peacekeeper app and I say, you know what? I want you to come and visit for dinner. This is the layout of my house. This is what I look like. Here's my kids, my grandkids. These are my dogs. And something happened, break in, and I push the button. You come over. You know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. What happens when you call the cops? They shoot the dog first. We can provide the solutions for this. This is what I've been waiting for. Not a building of seasteading, which is cool, by the way. I talked to them and they go, yeah, you don't like this one? Go start your own. Here's a template. You can create another and build another one. Done it before. Go over there. We have a whole bunch of these. You go to the best one you like the most, and there you go, and you sit, and you're good. Diversity and competition, I like it. It's this. Declare your independence by stop being dependent. And the only way you start doing that is just itty-bitty a little bit. What's the first step? Learn a little bit about a solar inverter and get your inverter, one battery and a panel, and take your bathroom off the grid. Then take your kitchen off the grid. Then take another bedroom off the grid. Grow a freaking tomato. And I don't mean in the little pint thing you did in 3rd grade and all of a sudden you're a farmer because you made a little green sprout for a week. Yay, we learned about botany. Yeah. My kids know how to raise chickens and goats and grow. And my oldest granddaughter is 5. You're 55, 65. How much of this do you know? I mean, you're probably better off and have a much better chance than somebody 25. Heck, they never been to a park, a lot of times. And you think I don't know. When we first did our first dome, I'm like, hand me the screwdriver, or give me a flathead, or a Phillips, or the drill, or this kind, and they're like, I'm going, wow, is it that bad? Yes. We had to go through a tool thing first. Be independent by stop being so dependent. I've been juicing for 5 years. I mean, I'm still a little heavy. I was a lot heavier. But I feel great. Go to the gym, doing my things heal fast. All my little aches and pains start going away. I got energy. I can do it. Woo, man. Just eating right. Well, I mean, have some, I eat bad too, but I get good stuff in, give it a chance here. So this is how, quit being so dependent. And the medical thing, I saw that with my parents. I going through all their stuff. Their best friends were doctors. Appointment doctor, prescription, briefcase full of whatever, and it's like, the biggest, probably value they had was my sister and brother-in-law and his friends coming over looking at what prescriptions they want to take. How sad is that? It's not right. It's not the way we were meant to live. There's so many things I can go on, but I just wanted to leave you with this. The future is enormously bright. I have been paying attention. I have been looking. I've been studying. We've been 3 years, 36 editions of magazines that are all about one thing. You go, oh my God, your first one, how did you ever top that? It's going to be, you put it all in one. I'm going, are you freaking kidding me? There are so many things for us to talk about and learn about and being able to understand. Bitcoin and blockchain technology is just the beginning. It is the distributed, peer-to-peer concept that is behind that and all of the other things that's going to save and launch humanity into the future. Government, coercion, control, war, manipulation, programming, it's going away. And if we don't provide a foundation and a culture that supports these young minds coming up with varied solutions. How many solutions do we have over the last 20 years? Well, it's a Republican or Democratic controlled whatever. That's our choice. They go, Ernie, you're such an anarchist. And I go, compared to what? What we got now? Hell, I vote anarchy. I mean, that was easy. This is what you got to offer me? But we have so much more to offer, and it's not just in America. This is not a USA, America, MKer thing. It's not how big your flag is on your football field, okay? This is not just us. It is a generational thing. It is generation next, and there's always a generation next, and all you have to do is inspire them. But what are we doing now? Social networking, and all we're doing is feeding in data to help train their artificial intelligence. Go Wired Magazine, Artificial Intelligence, this last month's edition, telling you exactly what Google and Facebook and all these guys, we're just training the big giant Skynet. You think I'm kidding? They recognize all of us, all our friends. They recognize what our preferences are, what your favorite book, color, movies. They know how you can write. They even go as you're typing, and when you kind of backspace and you correct and you change and doing everything, we're being profiled, analyzed. You ever see, Captain America, Winter Soldier? Department of Homeland Security's Hydra. Of course, how did they not know who to target? And boom, 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 and the threats of 3 million people taken out, save the planet of, and you're on the list. Does this shock anybody? Is it true? I don't know. Don't care. Because the solution is always the same. Quit being so dependent. Declare your independence. Take care of yourself and your family and your friends and your neighbors. Share the love. The power of love is the only thing that's going to conquer all this. I don't have to worry about it. I'm a talk show host. I am so proud to say, I go give a speech at a progressive thing, and they go, oh, well, what do you think of this and this? I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just think you're making the wrong assumption here. I haven't seen a single campaign commercial in 2014, not one. We unplugged the television. We do Roku, man. I get to watch all the shows I want without commercials. Yay! Best thing I ever did. And I'm more informed. What did Twain say? If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed, and if you read it, you're misinformed. These things are true forever and always, and what has changed? Our ability. They go, wow, that's just the internet. That doesn't count. Yeah, tell CNN that. DirecTV is ready to drop CNN. They're at the lowest ratings they've had in 22 years. It's changed, the dynamic, it's changed, it's over, it's changed. What's the question? I tell you the one question. If you're going to move any one place with other people, you want to know one thing. I always ask this one question. What is your conflict resolution? When there's a disagreement and who had to, yeah, but that's my power and I did the well and you were hooked into the kind of, and somebody disagrees and you said, yeah, what's your conflict resolution? You're better off not to be dependent. You're just, it's mine, I got my own. Well, isn't that inefficient? Not if your goal is freedom, not if your goal is independence, not if your goal is not to have stress in your life. Things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. In the end, freedom always wins. It just gets really messy first. We progress. It does this kind of thing, but we're going that way. I'm glad we're going that way. There's a lot of evidence of that way. I was more confident, than probably most, and the Levolution happened, everything happened, then it starts getting impressive now, and they go, well, yeah, but it's going that way. We have enormous opportunities. It's the people in this room. It's the people at these kinds of conferences. People involved with Libertopia. It's these people that I see over the years and the decades that are still here, that have faith, that create the foundation and the framework for the guarantee that humanity marches on. Yeehaw. In peace. Peace. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys have any questions? Yeah, Butler.
There's one aspect of all this change that's going on that I find very attractive. And that has to do with both the emotional and the spiritual dimension of what is taking place. And I think you're a good example of that. I was also reminded of the Spaceship One experience, which came after the Challenger blew up, the government's Challenger program. And Challenger takes off, explodes, and the guy who's giving, the government employee who's giving reports on that is still continuing. As all the pieces are obviously flowing all over the south part of Florida. And he's talking in terms of, well, let's say we think that the speed now is such and such, the elevation, blah, blah, blah. It's the way bureaucrats talk. And I contrasted that with when the Spaceship One came in, the second trip through, and the pilot, I've forgotten his name, but the pilot, as he's coming in for a landing, yells out, "Yahoo!" And I think that's the difference between these governmental programs and those that take place in the market. There is an emotional, a spiritual excitement about what's being done. We've really accomplished something, as opposed to the guy who's just sitting there reading numbers.
You know, I want to share this one thing with you, and you'll understand what Butler's, emphasizing here. I could see what you had to do in order to be able to create this oppressive, drone marching, dun, 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 dun. I mean, this Big Brother kind of thing. Is you had to, eliminate the spirit. You had to, extract that. You had to take away inspiration. You had to take away imagination. And it's when I remember there was a ABC after school specials. They're doing all this in the 70s, Equal Rights Amendment. We got to get women in the workforce, and the government will take care of your kid and latchkey and don't worry about it. Well, after school, what we'll do, we'll have an ABC after school special. We'll entertain the kids then. We'll tell them what's what. They had one that was called the Toothpaste Millionaire. I did a show on this because of My Magic Mud is this black stuff, makes your teeth white. I started doing it. You go to these different festivals and so on. It's a woman in Austin, her family's doing this stuff. Is awesome. I mean, you want white teeth 3 times with that. I'm going, damn, it's activated charcoal. It's black and scares children. But, it's, it works. And I remember this episode. It's called Toothpaste Millionaire, where this 12-year-old made this toothpaste that cleans your teeth and made it white. They go, oh, cool. And the whole, it build up, and he's put all this effort in and gets in market and everything. And at the end of the show, was the government man in black coming in and telling him he can't do it. And even as a teenager, as a young man in the 70s, I realized what that whole thing was a program, an entire generation of kids to know that you have to go to the government to get your permission slip. And I did the same thing 10 years later, in my father's company, I'm looking for the government agency of finding out of the permission slip if I want to be able to sell to someone else that voluntarily wanted to buy it. They were successful. And L. Neil Smith, a science fiction writer, libertarian, made the point, he goes, when you go to the supermarket, it used to be, and a lot of you older guys would remember, you go to the supermarket and they had all the magazines and books. Science fiction had its own big section. Just science fiction. Harlequin romance kind of eventually come in there. You got the novels of this, you got the magazine, whatever. Science fiction as one genre dominated everything else. And then it went away. You go to Blockbuster Video. All of a sudden, science fiction got morphed into action horror. You go, what happened? What happened? That did not serve the man. They don't want you imagining something different. God forbid you read some Heinlein, thinking line marriages and plural and oh my God, Utah's marrying multiple women, people, and dogs and cats and whatever. What the hell? This whole concept, I did on the front page of Freedom's Phoenix, you'll have there's a TED Talk that they did about legalization of drugs and doing away with the drug war on TED. We're in a totally different time now. Are you going to go to space and bring government with you? Are you going to be your own autonomous human being, an individual, and seek to where you can be independent by not being dependent? Are you going to raise your children to do that? In everything, there's nothing off limits. It's knowledge. Don't be stupid. We could go on for a long time, and I don't want to go over and interrupt your lunch. But I do want you to understand that my experience and everything I've done, I've been a nose to the grindstone activist for coming up on 3 decades. I was these young guys, okay? And I was looking for not lies. We know the truth. What's that? I tell you what the truth is not. It's not a lie. And if you find the truth, how would you recognize it? Well, it's not a lie. But what's the question? Can I just be left alone? Can I have my own standards and my own, as long as I'm not bothering someone else, I'm good. It's a non-aggression principle. It's all these basic golden rule. All this stuff has been talked about and thought about and bled over before. And what they had to do, those won't leave us alone. What they had to do is they had to change us. They had to make us think a different way. They had to program us. They had to get us asking permission. I tell you that I'll leave you with this one and you'll understand my point. When the Levolution was just getting started, it was like May, June of 2007. It's really starting to take off. It's getting going. I don't have to keep my finger on the button anymore. I'm just like, peace. And nobody knew I was the guy that did it. I never made a big deal out of it. It was Brian Doherty in Reason Magazine that outed me a year or more later. I didn't care. That wasn't the point. Because I go to a meetup, and it'd be like this. You'd have 100 people or something, and it was about this age. There's some of the people, there was a lot of people gray, there was people who'd been experienced, they were wanting to get involved, this liberty thing meant something. And I go, first thing I'd say, who are the sign makers? Nobody. Except the young kids, there'd be 5 to 10 of them in the corner back there, and they're like, well, we thought you were going to make signs. You're not making signs. We saw in the meetup at YouTube, and they were making signs. We looked for the sign makers. You're not making signs. We came here to make signs, okay? So I go, not a problem. I was there always a few days before Ron was doing some event that week. It's like a Wednesday or something. And I go, I'll be over there. Anybody got a driveway? We had templates that we made on the vinyl. We put it out and cut out of the coroplast. We go, CBS Outdoor or Clear Channel. We find out who did the billboards because they were paying to have them hauled off because they didn't biodegrade. They're paying in Vegas. They pay $5-10 a piece to throw away. So we get big giant trailers full of all this material and cut it up and make signs. On the back, it'd have a Coca-Cola logo or something, So we'd put in all these Ron Paul Revolution stuff and go put them up. The young people were like, hell yeah, and they weren't looking for permission. Now, how many overpasses can I put up? Let's go put it up, express myself, let's put it up. But 90% of the other people sitting in there, yeah, but how do you do that without a permit? Got to go get a permission slip. They're going to take it down. They're not going to be allowed. You're going to get a ticket. That was the difference. I saw it right there. It's Generation Next. They're not afraid. Their values are totally different. And the people that have been indoctrinated, if you're thinking, well, how's that going to affect my taxes and the accounting of the paperwork of the bank of the and the permission slip? You lost before you started. Don't be a loser.
Thank you for watching this presentation. Visit Roberts & Roberts online at rrbi.co for all your precious metals needs. Roberts & Roberts not only accepts Bitcoin, they prefer it. If you enjoyed this video, also consider donating to Red Pill Productions.